All right. It says we're live. Okay.
Now wait a little bit.
Nope, we just go because the recording that's going to go up afterwards is going to be really awkward if we just sit around waiting for people. So, hi everybody. This is our first time on YouTube Live, and it's also different because we're together.
Yay!
So, I'm Sarah, also known as Imagine Landscapes.
And I am Katie, also known as Raiun.
And we usually do an audio podcast, but we started doing once a month. Hey, we get to show you things, and we've been doing them on Instagram, but we've decided that YouTube might be better because I don't know about you, but I'm not in the mood for long form when I'm on Instagram, but on YouTube, I'm looking for something to play around with. So we're trying this out. This is going to be together in person, which is super exciting. But Katie doesn't live with me, so or in my city. So mostly it's going to be on Zoom, but that was super awkward.
That was. I didn't know what you're going for.
I didn't either. All right, thanks. Is there anything else we need to say before we start?
We have a bi-weekly audio podcast that you should join in on. There are cats here who are going to make this entertaining for us, hopefully for you. It is called the Imagine Landscapes podcast, and it's the two of us, and we talk about knitting, but we're also massive nerds, so we talk about board games that we're enjoying, or the books that we're reading, the movies and TV that we're also enjoying, which are usually some form of fantasy or sci-fi.
Yeah.
I have a Star Trek tattoo.
You probably shouldn't whisper.
Oh, well.
Oh, and I forgot to get our special mic. So never mind, our audio will be slightly less awesome.
Yes. So audio podcast. I do the sound for that.
I wreck the sound for this. So we're going to do some finished objects. We're going to do some works in progress. And then we're going to wrap up. If anyone is here and wants to ask us questions in chat, that's the whole point of this, actually. Yes. Also to be able to show people things, but also to be able to answer questions you might have.
A little awkward because we can see that there's nobody here presently, but we know that this will be able to be viewed later. So off we go.
The cardinal rule is you're never supposed to actually disclose live viewership.
Clearly, I'm not the one who does the live stuff between the two of us.
Okay, so I am wearing my finished Raiun. Now, this is my first ever finished Raiun. I have coveted Katie's first ever finished Raiun for a while. And we did the fall, or are in the middle of doing the fall Cardical. Yeah. Which #fall Cardical is a great place to check out inspiration. And there's also a thread in our Ravelry group, which is called the Imagine Landscapes group. And people are knitting cardigans left, right, and center. And because it is a low rules podcast, because we have no prizes and it's not terribly official, people are putting pullovers in that thread.
In general, our knit-alongs tend to be like, do what makes you happy within
some rules-ish
parameters. Yeah. But this, because there's no prizes, there's no anything other than just support. We both wanted to make a Raiun, and so we decided to invite other people to knit cardigans for fall.
So what's great about this cardigan is that it comes with both sleeve lengths, but I've loved watching Katie throw this on anytime we're like at mom and dad's and it gets a little cool in the evenings or whatever. This kind of long t-shirt length I really like. And so there is a ribbed front that then
this lovely detail down the back that angles for a bit, and then Sarah's going to stand up on the couch. And if you can see, it actually, the angle goes like this and then straight down on both sides. And it's a really nice, clear line here. Stay where you are. I'm just going to pick up the computer. So maybe you can see that a little bit better. So it just ends. And it's lovely, lovely detail. So my first one was in a really bright yellow without being neon. And I've done elbow length sleeves on mine. And so
I think when I block it next time, I'm going to block the fronts even more, maybe a little more aggressively.
Yeah.
But it is not meant to close. Like it's not an overlapping cardigan or even a meeting at the front cardigan.
Yeah.
What I like about it is it's kind of blazer adjacent.
Yes, actually, It's one that I'm pretty sure I've worn my yellow one to work events.
Yeah.
But I will put on. Oh, go ahead.
This is Cypress from Sweet Georgia.
The
Tough Love sock.
Yeah.
I forgot that they had a posh version and just ordered the budget version.
And I did the posh version.
Katie ordered the version that's 5 out of 5 kittens.
I thought it was 4 out of 5. But yes.
I think the 4 out of 5 that I did on our last audio was simply an example of a rating. I feel like this one would be a 5.
Yes, yes. Especially now that I've blocked it, it's a little. I know. It's so easy. So this is also Sweet Georgia yarn, Cash Luxe Fine, in the Velvet Elvis colorway.
Yeah.
And so I forgot that there was shaping on the sleeves, but that's actually worked out for me.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit loose. We'll see how it wears. But same with the detail in the back. Now, because I'm obviously a larger size.
Yeah.
It doesn't come as close in the back.
So let me see if I can do this for people. So this is as far as it goes for Kate. Oh, here we go. Like that is the closeness for Katie.
Yeah. Whereas Sarah's is about this close.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so just lovely elbow length.
Yeah.
Nice. This is the first time that I've put it on since I blocked it.
I've worn mine a couple times because
but I like where it ends in the back. It's about standard jean, I think.
Well, what's standard these days?
I know, but like it feels like it's at the low part in my low back where I like it to be.
Yes, it's low enough that even when you sit down, it's not high, but it's high enough that it feels more blazery. It doesn't. There's no worry about is it going to hit the widest part of my hips or you know, it would go with dresses because I've seen you do it with dresses. Yeah. Like it's a really versatile. I used.
Yeah. Oh, see that sleeve looks a little too big.
Did I do 3 skeins and I have a 4th left? Basically, I think for my size,
okay.
I have a 35-inch bust, and I knit whatever size she recommended for that. So I think I did only 3 yards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 870 or 900 yards for my size.
Yeah. So. But yeah, no, I'm quite happy with it. It's really, really comfy. I'm looking forward to wearing it to work whenever I go back into the office. Yeah. I've been working from home since March 2020, despite changing jobs. So yeah, but yeah, really nice. I like the variation, not the variation, but the variation with the tonal color in here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very bright yellow.
Yes.
Like it's not a dark purple, but it's also not a lavender or lilac.
Yeah, it's a sophisticated purple, I would say.
Mm-hmm. While still being kind of bright.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So
we're both drinking French cardamom tea from David's Tea. David's
French
tea.
Toast.
Oh, French cardamom French toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. David's Tea does not sponsor us, but they should.
They should. Get a hold of us. These are old. What I'm about to show are really old FOs, but I wanted to show them because I had a realization that just about blew my mind. Okay, so I ordered Enchanted Forest from Mud Punch. Mm-hmm. Gosh, it's so awesome.
It is beautiful.
And
it's like it's like a desert with a hint of evergreen oasis.
Yeah. So it's got this teal and this aqua and then I don't know, like a honey kind of yellow and then coral. And I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And then I saw Paradise Alpha and just even though it's not my color at all, I still could not stop. I think it's like that whole 80s revival thing really attracted me. So here's the Paradise Alpha. But what's crazy is it's
just 2 colors off.
Just 2 colors different.
Yeah.
This is a 6 stripe and this is a 4.
Oh, this teal is even the same color.
Yeah.
It's just that this one has these 2.
It has
2 purples.
2 purples added to it is the only difference.
Yeah.
So that just blows my mind. Because to me, emotionally, these are very different colors.
They are very different colors.
Like this one is just, and it's also very stripy.
Yes.
Right? Because it's got that really dark one.
And it's a thicker stripe too. Is it? It feels like it is.
Oh, and the blue is slightly different actually in the Paradise Alpha. Now that I have them right up against each other, this is more of a teal and this is more of a royal purple. Right? But I mean, they're so close and they are yet like, that just blew my mind away.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show you how fiendishly clever dyers can be and how they understand color.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
So these are Mud Punch, a Canadian dyer who recently quit her full-time job to dye full-time. Right. And I love this base, like almost unhealthily. I like my fingering weight yarns just a little bit plumper. And it's partly because I'm a loose knitter.
Right.
And so I feel like I'm actually knitting these at like a competent gauge.
And dense enough to last, right? Because that's the thing, if you knit a sock gauge too small, it's when you wear it, or too loose. It's just gonna,
it doesn't have this, like,
it doesn't contain it. It doesn't hold itself together.
It wears better the tighter it is, like the tighter gauge it is. But that's really hard for me because I'm a loose knitter. So I just wanted to show those since this is not the audio podcast.
Yeah. I only have 2 FOs to show. I'm going to start by showing the hat that I finished, but I'm going to start by showing it like this. This is a hat. This is the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague. Basically, you do some increases, you knit a tube, and you do some decreases. And then, so this is apparently styled after something that was used in, I think, one of the World Wars. And it was supposed to be a lot longer so that you could also wear it as a scarf.
I have not read that part of that.
Yeah.
That's
or maybe, it was supposed to be versatile.
Like tuck under your collar kind of.
Yeah. But then what you do is you line it up and you stuff it into itself and you get a double thick hat. I don't want to put it on my head because the person it's for has a smaller head than me. And I don't want to stretch it. So you can either wear it like this
and be slouchy.
Or have 4 thicknesses over your ears in our -30 weather. And so this is Knit Pick Stroll Tweed in the Barley Heather colorway, which looks a little more mustardy in person than it does right now. It's a vibrant tonalness to it. Or earlier today, I walked up to Sarah wielding the leftovers like this, and she thought I was handing her a stick of baby poo.
Which obviously, if it's mustard yellow, is not
actually stick.
But it just, there was like the way you wound it and everything was very...
Yeah. So, really, really lovely pattern. Perfect for stealth knitting through Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting.
Yeah. And it's crazy to me. So we've been knitting a lot of socket hats this year. Like I think you've done 7 and I've done 6 so far. Or you've done 8 or 9. Yeah.
Actually.
So it's been like a lot. Hashtag your sockets. And what's crazy to me is they have the same amount of yarn in them.
Pretty much. Yeah. So,
which just tells you how intense, because like the sock head is like this plus ribbing, but still like that surprises me that they're so close.
Yeah. This feels lovely. Like I can definitely see making more of those. Making more of these. I don't need this much warmth because I generate a lot of heat, but I have people in my life.
What's amazing too, though, is because it's the 4-layer thick option. It's sometimes it's not the cold; it's the wind. Yeah. Right. And if your ears really get cold, it's really gross and terrible, and you get frostbite really easily. And once you've had frostbite,
you're more susceptible.
And it's like just this cycle of doom. In our 2-week winters.
2-week, 8 months. Not 8 months.
6 in a bunch.
It could snow in September,
but it doesn't stay anywhere. Yeah. So also in the realm of, I really want to show off as opposed to finished recently. These are the socks I knit from Das Mondschaf, which is a German dyer. A really amazing coffee, like a dark coffee brown to mid-brown to gold. This looks like, I don't know, tarnished dwarven armor is the reference I keep making.
It looks like a dark honey.
Yeah. And in a new to me thing that may become a tradition, I don't know. I knit a matching gnome. So, it's blowing out so much, that little nose. You can't even see the little nose there. But I knit a matching gnome because this is a present. And I feel like, especially because this is such a tiny gnome, it's like a half an evening kind of project. If I have time, I feel like this should be something that happens.
Yeah, that's really sweet. And adding that extra yellow just really, really makes a lot of sense. Makes it pop.
Yeah. This is the No Fun Like Gnome Fun pattern, which is one of my patterns, because if you are new to me and Katie, then you will not know that gnomes are sort of taking over my life and my house. And
not
soon,
taking. Yeah. Have taken.
Just you saying that not everybody has a glass cupboard just for their gnomes?
Probably not.
Probably not everybody.
Probably not everybody.
The queen probably has 2.
Yes. But she's not the queen of gnomes.
No.
You are. I only had the 2 FOs to show.
That's all I have.
But I can show what I'm looking at while it's decided we decided earlier that we weren't going to knit while we talked, but then I picked up my project and we should just do it. Started knitting. So Sarah and I both started impromptu sweaters this week.
Like yours was, so in our segment, you said it was on the horizon.
Yes, but it was like, it went from like, gosh, I think I would like to have another one at some point,
right,
to
yarns in your hands.
Sunday deciding that I wanted to, like this week Sunday, deciding that I wanted to do something with like some speckles and some colors and that are a little out of my normal zone. And what I like about the Radvent cardigan is it's just a really long, like it's a really long cuff and then a sleeve that just continues to get larger. And then somehow while knitting in the round this way, you cast on the body and then it's got this really nice kind of cropped look to it.
Mm-hmm. It's a really 1950s kind of like adjacent style.
Yeah, and so I thought that it would be a great way to kind of push myself out of my comfort zone with color. And so I picked a mini skein set called Broken Rainbow by Allison Barnes. And I bought this granite gray, which also is kind of mirrored within this color. And so it's this really clever set of mini skeins, 50 grams, that fade themselves. So the first one has this orange and this pink, and the next one has the same orange and yellow. And then, rustling. The next one has the green and yellow, and then green and blue.
Yep.
And then I'm missing one. Blue and purple, and then purple and the same beginning pink.
So it would also
it will loop around, which actually I'm planning on doing. So you knit the Radvent from cuff to spine, and then cuff to spine, and then you graft the back up. And so I'm going to do the orange and pink to here, and then I'm going to do it the opposite way so that the rainbow, when I'm standing like this, will just repeat twice in the same color set. So yeah, so I cast this on. I ordered the yarn on Sunday. We recorded on Monday. I had it by Wednesday, and I cast on Thursday. And it's Saturday. So going pretty well. And the nice thing about it is the pattern, which is by Amba O'Brien, has things broken down. Like with a name like Radvent Cardigan, it's made to go with an Advent set of minis. So it's made for 25. And so she's really broken it down by row as to when you change skeins. And so it was really easy to figure out, all right, this is where I'll change from one color to the next color.
Right, because you could know, I have this many skeins or this many colors out of this many total rows. I'm going to modify it to do the division, like the chunks this way.
And the ratio is a little bit different. Like the ratio of rows that you do shifts at one point, because as it gets bigger, you use up more yarn, right?
Yeah.
Because there's really, as you can see from my stitch markers, fairly regular increases. And so it was really easy to figure out how to kind of maintain that ratio as well, even though I'm using significantly fewer colors than it's been written for.
So we need to talk about your stitch markers, because while we were together this morning, you pulled them out and you're like, I don't have enough stitch markers.
Or types of stitch markers is part of it. So
let's describe what's all going on here.
So what I have here is these are stitch markers for all of the increases that I'm doing so that I can track them, but also so that I can count them later, because I need to change what I'm doing when I reach a certain number of increases. And then we've got one here for when I hit 20 rows from the cuff. And then we've got one here for when I changed colors.
So why do you care about 20 rows?
To help me double check when I've done enough of these things. Because it's easier to count, it's easier to track 20 rows every once in a while than it is to just count all of these things.
Right. So I have a suggestion that will help you since you don't have enough types. One really cool method I heard of counting rows is you put a piece of contrasting scrap yarn in. And so like, let's say I was to start now, I would just lay the yarn in here, and then I would knit, let's say 10 rows, and then I would pop it out to the outside.
Yeah.
And then I would knit 10 rows, and then I would pop it to the inside. So you get these chunks, so there'll be 10 rows without yarn, 10 rows with.
And so it's really, really visual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be a way to do that. And it's also a way to do things if you don't have stitch markers on hand. Right.
And I have done that in the past. So, that's a good reminder. I'll have to see what scrap yarn I've got hanging around.
And also, like, I know you're past this one, so you've already got the 20 in, but if you have your yarn on the needle, you could just insert it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Kind of like retcon it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this has become the main thing that I'm spending my time knitting on.
Yeah. So that's Rad Event by Amba O'Brien.
Using the Broken Rainbow by Alison Barnes.
And do you, when you wear your other one, is the sleeve folded? Like, is that cuff folded?
Nope. And part of the thing that I love about this is, so I've got long arms and broad shoulders, and most shirts when I buy them, or sweaters, end about here, and I find bracelet length feels really awkward on me. It doesn't feel finished.
It feels like you grew out of your sweater.
Yeah. And so over the last 40 years, I just habitually shove all of my long sleeves up.
Which is why originally actually you knit this Raiun.
Yeah.
I think, because you were like, well, it's already above where I'd be annoyed.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if it's above my elbow, then it's fine. But there's something about the length of the sleeves and this cuff that the couple times that I've worn it and I've shoved it up, I've immediately pulled it back down.
Right.
And it wears about like this for me.
Which is a real, it's almost a luxury.
Yeah, it really is. And I can get it longer if I like go make it a little bit more snug. Sorry, I'm distracted. A really big spider has just started crawling in my...
Oh my goodness, that's Australian level big spider. Are you okay with that?
I'm fine with it. Okay. No, it's just distracting. But yeah, so because of the way that this wears, there's just something about it. And that's partly why I wanted another one.
Yeah.
And to do it in such fun colors. It's already pooling a little bit, the yellow over here. But we'll see how it goes as I keep going.
That's really,
I'm loving it.
Really exciting.
I'm loving it a lot. Thank you, Allison, for making this yarn. And also, I talked about this on the audio podcast, but like, these yarn names are great. Perfect the way I am. Healthy at any size. Don't forget to eat.
Yeah.
Body changes are normal. And how important is that to hear, you know, how many months, a period, but let alone this far into a pandemic where I know I'm not as active as I used to be, and I've definitely gained weight. And so, yeah, and then a few other really great names too. So yeah, thanks for that too, Allison. What are you working on right now?
Yeah, I kind of already revealed this. This is the second sock of a very bright pair. I will start the heel when I'm done this in like 17 stitches. The heel starts when I switch to green. This is Cumberland from Timber Yarns, and I asked, and it's actually named after a street they lived on, and I think she has 3 boys or something like that, and there were all sorts of houses. I think it was a cul-de-sac even, and there were all sorts of boys. And
no, someone sent me a message about they can't seem to find us on live.
Oh,
so that's why. Sorry,
that's okay. Then I forgive you.
Yeah.
So
cul-de-sac
full of like, and I think there were like 3 families with boys, and this is a very Crayola kind of rainbow. It gets I'm really glad that it goes white in some places so that it's broken up a little bit, because it's already really, really intense, but it's crazy. And so Cumberland, just because of the playful energy of that place in their memories, is where that name comes from. So yeah, that's the second one. And I was knitting on this like really focused.
And then you also started, I had to plan and like shop for yarn online and wait for the yarn. You went from, I think I want to knit a sweater, to I've picked my yarn out of my stash and I've cast on in like no time flat.
So I spent some time trying to like convince myself that it was a reasonable choice to buy the yarn for Joji Locatelli's new sweater, the newsletter sweater, which is amazing. It's like stripes of black or charcoal gray and like a dirty pale white kind of color, and then but it's brioche. So, and it alternates which one's to the fore. So it's like it's a black and gray everywhere, but in one place the white pops a little bit, and so like it's this incredible. It looks like a line of text from far away. She nailed that with the name, and it's like it is so me. But I looked for yarn, and like everywhere I looked, they were sold out of the charcoal or the pale gray or whatever, and I was going to be.
And you really wanted that color combo.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, the one other one that I saw, there weren't many projects up on Ravelry because I mean, it's like she released it and I started shopping yarn, like kind of a deal. Was like a really dark navy.
Ooh. Which also is one of
my
your
thing.
colors.
But how many navy sweaters do I need?
More. She
apparently.
needs more.
So anyways, I've been banging around this idea. People have been doing leftover projects a lot where they marl yarn. And for whatever reason, I just decided I was going to knit a sweater with my leftovers. And I was going to do stripes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to, rather than doing a raglan so that
you didn't want the angle of the raglan line.
Yeah, I didn't want a corner. I wanted to go around. So I wanted a circular yoke. And so I grabbed out of my library the Tin Can Knits pattern Strange Brew. And a Strange Brew is not a pattern. Strange Brew is like a book that teaches you everything you ever needed to know about color work and yoke sweaters. It goes from newborn size to like triple XL, 6XL. I think there are something like 14 or 16 sizes in this pattern. It's insane. And it does both top up and bottom up, top down, bottom up in 3 yarn weights.
Amazing.
It's like, I think there's
that explains why I see it everywhere.
Yeah. And then there's sample charts for color work so that you can mix and match and design your own color work. Plus there's graph paper for you to like literally.
Oh, nice.
Like, it is the coloring book of sweater patterns. Like, it is so extraordinary. Nice. But it has a round yoke.
Yeah.
And the numbers in DK, because if you hold fingering weight yarn together, it's basically like a DK, which is where DK comes from. Double knitting. Double knitting what? Well, 2 fingering weight socks or yarns. So I also have been feeling very blah about my wardrobe lately. So I was like, I should just have fun.
I understand that urge.
So this is what I've got so far. Let me just pull this down a little bit. So what I did is I went down and I was just like, what do I even have in my leftovers? There is no self-striping sock yarn in here because I don't want to play that game.
No.
So I've got a whole pile of really dark yarns, lots of dark grays, a dark blue. I've also got a dark green somewhere. And so that's going to be like pile 1. And I'm always going to grab 1 yarn from pile 1. And then I've got my fun pile. And those I restrained to purple, green, blue. And then this one, it's reading a lot more red.
It is.
In person or in this combination, because I think that's because the red stands out.
Yeah,
from the rest.
It stands out in person, but not quite as vibrantly as it does on the camera.
Yeah, so like in the skein, like it reads like a dark bluish, purplish yarn, but knit up in this combination, like you're really noticing the reds. So I'm doing 8 row stripes, and having a blast.
Looks so good.
The one thing I needed a little bit of help with deciding is I did pull 1 full skein of this gray out of my stash. I held it double. I'm going to hold whatever dark yarn I've got left at that time double for the sleeves, like the cuffs and the hem and the collar. But so I've got 100 grams of that 1 gray. And what I'm thinking I don't want to do is knit like as much as I can with it.
Yeah.
And then have like, because the rest is all patchy bits of like 50 grams here, 20 grams there. Like it's all kind of more pieces. And so I don't want all of this to be unified with the same gray. And then all of a sudden, both the stripe color and the dark color to be changing frequently.
What you should do next is use the one that you have the least of. See how much you get out of it, and then make decisions from there.
Yeah. And I mean, like at some point I'm going to do sleeves, and I've decided I'm not going to do any sleeve management. So my sleeves will, I say that and that's like, I don't know if I can do that. Can I do sleeves different?
I think you're going to have to.
Oh, I think I am going to have to.
Yeah.
That's going to be tricky.
So your body will be one set and each sleeve will be another one.
Yeah. So it'll be 3 sets of stripes. And
this is Soot.
This is Soot, the very photogenic, and there's enough light, cat. So yeah, I was completely say, like, I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to do different sleeves, because the whole point of this is to be fun.
The words came out of your mouth, I watched your body change.
Yeah. So I'll be thinking about that.
Yeah, but I think you should do the one that you have the least of, or save that to be the one that you do once you separate the sleeves.
Yeah. And do like,
but switch with the next color that you do.
Yeah. And I get to do that like pretty much next round.
Alrighty.
So you can help me pick both colors.
Awesome.
I have one more FO. So
I have,
what do you have there?
So if you've listened to the podcast, you know that Sarah and I both are really interested in knitting something called the sweater weather wreath.
Oh yeah.
And so I went to big box store and bought a foam wreath and some really chenille yarn. I did not bring the wreath or the yarn with me because there's only so much I'm willing to drag all the way out here. But while we were talking on the podcast, I described the needles that I bought to go with it. And they are Prim is the brand. I'm hiding them from Sarah. I want to wait till I get them out. And they're an ergonomic circular knitting needle. And on the podcast, I use the term bulbous to describe the tip.
Yes, which is not a term I want to hear. Okay.
Look at that.
All right, so they're triangular here.
Yep. And there's
then
like an actual, yeah. And I really wasn't sure how it would feel to knit with them.
I guess because you're using them for bulky yarn.
And I'm using them for a bulky yarn, a chenille yarn that doesn't have give to it, but you have to cable it. And so it actually works. Like there's something about it that the way that the yarn moves from one to the other because of that snick that you get. There's a little bit of a catch there.
Yeah, it doesn't just pop right off.
Yeah, it actually really helps.
Nice too.
Yeah. So I don't know if any of you knit with them, but I wouldn't buy a ton of them, but
here's the box.
I like
for those
them
of you
quite
who
a
like
bit.
to.
We're visual folks.
I think it's backwards for us, but I don't want to end up being backwards for them. So
yeah,
we'll find out because it's our first time doing this.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, so I just wanted to
that's
do
awesome.
a bit of a in-person
They are
reveal.
weird, and they're lighter than I expected. Like normally,
yeah, they look like they would be a heavy, thick plastic.
But this is really light and definitely going to be easy on your wrists and the whole
yeah. Well, like, and I've knit with circular and square needles.
The way you knit.
I've knit with circular and square needles before, and I find that they do change how much work my hands do to hold on to the needles. And so there's something nice about the triangular shape too.
And then lastly, so this is a design that I'm working on. The last mystery gnome, not just another gnome, had cables and featured a very lovely diamond cable with or moss stitch in the middle. Moss stitch for us North Americans. Is it double moss for England?
I can't.
Anyways, it's the one where you double the rows. So it's not seed stitch where you're changing every row. So it's like knit one, purl one, and then the next row you do that again.
Yeah,
and then you switch it. And some of the hats I knit for gnomes, I just feel like they need to be for humans. Yeah. And so I decided that Nathan's hat was one of those. So I knit one version. I designed one version that's going to be a slouchy beanie. And I didn't bring that one because it looks like a slouchy cable beanie. And once you see this one, you'll know a lot about what that one's going to look like. But this is the what if you really want a gnome hat. So I love it.
And I love how it changes. Like you've got a couple of diamonds and then it just
gets smaller.
Yeah.
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 So it's designed on the whole ski cap principle. You could stuff it if you want for your lives, but I will not be. And it will go back. And then it will be long enough probably to curl around and just have like the tassel sort of sitting forward.
I love it so much. Also, this is why. So Sarah originally sent me a picture of this yarn with a bunch of other yarn she was going to take on a trip with her. And I thought that it was yarn for this sweater.
Yeah.
And they are really, really close.
Yeah,
this one's got
two
a
different
bit more,
dyers.
It's a bit deeper.
Yeah. So this is Keep in Their Roots. Oh, look at my hair. From Marionated Yarns. This is part of the gradient that I picked the colors from Nathan out of.
Oh, yeah.
So she's got a gradient of 5. And the colors I picked for Nathan are too pale to work with my skin tone. So I wanted something that was darker, but light enough to show the texture. And this one is a little bluer. It's a cypress and it's got, like this one is 100% a green.
Yeah.
This one is definitely a blue tinged green or something like that in person. So that's the last project I have to show. My very tall hat that needs to be taller still.
I have 2 more whips to show. So I thought I would bring, I'm knitting our mom a pair of socks. Who knows? She picked the yarn herself. So when I posted a picture, she's like, "Oh, look, it's my Christmas socks," which they are. So this is,
Oh, that knits up so good.
Isn't it delicious? This is from Dye for You with a sheep, so EWE. Allie lives in Winnipeg, and this is
My kind of holiday baking.
yes, thank you.
I have this year.
Which I love because this brown is the perfectest
Gingerbread.
and then this white with the speckles is perfect icing
Or sugar cookies.
or
right? With sprinkles.
yeah, it's just so
Yeah.
it's so wonderful. But this I did a square heel, which we normally don't do, and so it's a little bit different than what our heels normally look like. It's actually a bit boxier.
Yeah, it's almost like a.
I'm trying to figure out how to hold it to show her.
Here, let's.
And I don't quite know how to get it to show the camera. So normally a heel, the way we knit them, goes out at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, this stays
It's like a
the
postage
same.
stamp.
Yeah. And so we'll see how it fits. I haven't shown these to Mom yet, and she is not watching. So hopefully they do a really good job of kind of hugging her heel and staying put without being...
Here, I'm trying to think of... So here's what our typical heel flap, heel turn looks like.
Yeah. And I've got my knuckles in here.
Yeah. So if you see
so
that,
it
how
would
it kind
be-
of angles out.
Yeah. And this one really doesn't. It's quite...
It's a box. What did you call it?
I think they
Square
called it
heel?
square.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember how to do it. I don't knit enough socks anymore to just have the formula in my head. And so I Googled, and
That looks like it'd be very good for people with thin
heels, like the
Yeah.
Achilles.
Yeah, Achilles.
Achilles tendon and heel.
How spicy is it? I don't know, but we use just one Achilles.
So we'll see. It was from Modern Day Knitting.
Okay.
So yeah, hopefully the sock fits too.
I love that yarn. Oh gosh.
Allie's yarn
It's
is
making me want to knit.
really dense.
Yeah, actually,
but-
I wonder if it's the same base as Mud Punch.
Oh, maybe.
Because, it's that Canadian,
Yeah.
like maybe there's a Canadian mill that they all go to because it definitely has similarities.
Yeah, it does. So that's one of my whips. Are you almost out? Are you out? Okay. And then the other thing, I just wanted to, again, just show the indicator. This is designed by Telly Beam Knits from Knit Happy with Self-Striping Yarn. Clearly, I'm not using self-striping yarn. This is Badass Unicorn and
Onyx.
thank you. Love how you always remember that and I don't. From Ginger Snap Yarns. And I'm just knitting along. So I have 2 skeins of the Badass Unicorn. So this whole bit from the beginning to where it's really thick is 1 skein. And then this much left of the second skein.
That's awesome. And how wide is it?
Ooh, it's pretty wide.
Yeah. So from my...
Oh, here.
Yeah.
That
the way
covers
down to
your torso.
Yep.
Yeah.
For the elegant evening out with Cyndi Lauper.
I was going to say for the 80s revival. Come on.
Yeah.
So I've been working on, I picked this up when Raiun was done and I needed something else. What I also like about it is Sarah and I tend to both knit a lot of fingering weight yarn on smaller needles.
Yeah.
And this one is fingering weight yarn on bigger needles. And even this is a US 6 and this is an 8.
Yeah.
So 5 millimeters versus 4. And normally we're knitting on much smaller stuff.
Yeah.
So every once in a while my hands just need a break. So this is really lovely for that. And yeah, that's all the stuffs.
Yeah. All right. I think I may have set this to private. You remember how that person was having a hard time getting it? There's like all sorts of settings, and it's possible that because I went through twice, and I know at least one time, like I do have a memory of setting it public, but I'm wondering because then I discovered that Safari won't stream and I had to download Chrome, and there was a whole thing that when I went the second time, it's possible I missed that in sort of the cavalcade of setup steps. So we're learning. It will be here on demand. Hope you're enjoying it in time travel world.
Yes. Next time we'll be in different cities.
Yep. So this time we're going to end with a high five.
Yeah, we are.
All right. We're finishing this off. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
End.